Hello, this is Athena with AMG Creates, and I'm going to make a quick card that I didn't like at all and remade it after this. So I'm using the winter window cutout, winter birds, and the winter birds add-on. And there are lots of ways that I could have done this, but I decided to use the smallest scraps possible and do no line coloring, which sometimes. So no line coloring is meant to be very soft, meant to look a little bit more realistic. With these birds, they're more cartoony, so yeah, it just didn't turn out. Um, so no line coloring is pretty much taking a lighter ink. The gray is not a lighter ink. You'll see me use more of a peach colored ink. Um, I know whenever I used to do this, it was a different brand, and I would use wheat. But yeah, you use a very lighter color and then you color it in. Therefore, you couldn't see the black lines. And I just wasn't a fan of the look of this, but I continued to do it anyway. Um, I like the design though, and I will be redoing it. You'll see at the very end that about 8 minutes in, you'll see that I redid it. It wasn't that hard to redo. I even updated it so that they all have the black ink on there. And um, there's a little bit more depth. I think that the one that I redid looks a lot better. So all I'm doing is pretty much coloring everything in. And again, making the birdhouse bright as possible. Only because if you've ever been around kids, you realize that they choose the weirdest color things. They just color to color. That's great. So every time I picture like my daughter coloring the birdhouse, and even now, at 9 years old, she still chooses weird colors sometimes. So while I do enjoy the whole thought of no line coloring, um, really didn't like it for this one. Like I said, it's meant to be softer and things like that. So for Lawn Fun's bears and their mice, it makes sense. For this one, I wasn't really a fan. So I tried to make that one into a cardinal, and then this one into a weird kind of bluebird, blue jay sort of thing. Even though blue jays have more of a tufty part at the top of their head. I made sure to blacken, put black on their eyes so that you could actually see them. Then just using the die cutter to cut it out. So I use a Gemini Junior. I know a lot of people will use it's an automatic one, so you put it in, it automatically goes. I know a lot of people that also like a hand crank version, so that if they only want to do part of a die, that's easier for them. So now we are on the struggle bus with this thing, and I should have used um, a bigger piece of that sparkly blue and didn't. And you can watch as my frustration starts because it's a little slippery and there is no way to tell from front to back. But yeah, the one side just keeps slipping and oh boy. So try to use some tape. Um, so this is a method that I used to do whenever I was working in a frame shop where if the picture was just too big or the if the mat was too big for the picture, so the colored part was too big for the picture, like it's an 8 by 10 picture, you literally put an 8 by 10 opening in the mat instead of a little bit smaller. Yeah. So trying to get that all figured out, and I just wasn't having any fun with it. Trying to straighten it so it all looks good, and then put the bottom straight so that that looks good. By the end, I was frustrated. And then I saw that I overdid the tape. It just, So yeah, many things that I would have done differently. Um, and then of course I couldn't rip the tape. It was just a bad thing all around. And then whenever I did cut it, it only does like a little bit. So yeah, it stops right there. Oh, I was so frustrated. So after I do that, I just put everything else on and then I'm done basically. Um, it, I think that I could have added more to the background, even with the newer one. Um, I could have added more to the background so that it had more dimension to it, and I didn't think about it until afterwards. Well, by then it's already glued down. So I'm gluing it down, making sure that I am able to move it around just in case, because it was off just a little bit. And then the same thing with that, I make sure that I glue it down and I can put it kind of where I want it to be. I like the thought of it being in the middle. That way, that was the focal point because it's there's no place like home. So that is basically, you know, glad that you're back kind of thing. So on here there are two stamps and it says there's no place like and then home for the holidays. Well, I didn't need home for the holidays, so I just put there's no place like home. I was trying to find my stamping pad. It was just a whole mix of I didn't have all my stuff with me whenever I was doing this. And then I think that I was working on it and I had it upside down. Yeah, so I tried to put it right. And that's the thing. So the stamps are obviously backwards. Well, I can read backwards and upside down without a problem, and that's a problem. So if I put it on there, then I know how it's supposed to be. Ta-da! And you've seen me do that before, where I just set it on there and go, yep, this is how I want it. Make sure that there's nothing else on there, and there's no place like home. Should I have added some ruby slippers to it? Probably. So anyway, that is the other card. You will see the new card. I tried to color in his face a little bit more, and it just, ugh, I just was not happy with it. So you'll see the new card in a couple of seconds, and I am definitely more pleased with that card than I am with this card. Um, anyway, thank you for joining me. Please make sure to like and subscribe. That is the new card. I like it a lot better. You guys have a nice day.